At a commissioners' meeting in Florida's Palm Beach County, anger erupted after a unanimous vote to make masks mandatory. This turned downright ugly. Here was the scene.
We understand that in the beginning there was an issue between not wearing masks, wearing masks. That's, the information now is that the facial coverings in public help stop the spread of the virus.
Please do not interrupt these proceedings. My next option is to recess and then clear the chamber. And then we'll have to allow only people in that are going to comply with the law that allows these proceedings to move forward so that public decisions can be made on behalf of this county. Ma'am.
So that is definitely my position. So I highly recommend that we go forward with the wearing of the mask as mandatory. People, when we tell people that something is mandatory, it sends two messages. One, that we believe it's important, and two, that then they have more incentive to wear it.
With that said, we would like to hear what the public has to say on this important public policy issue. I want to remind the members of the public that we truly are interested in what you have to say, but under Section 5D, I'll remind that there is a civility clause within our code that allows the chair of the county commission to eject any person and then thereby trespass them from this property on a second warning.
This board, excluding Valachey and Weinroth, have repeatedly denounced members of the public for not wearing masks when they had no idea if those individuals had medical conditions which prevent them from wearing one. You're setting a poor example for the public. Even Lois Frankel bashed us on Friday and said that it was 30% of the store. I don't know what store that is. I'm gonna also call out Miss Megan Bell, who presented the mask mandate for this board. She has labeled those who can't wear a mask as anti-maskers and has gone as far to say that those individuals claimed that they have medical exemptions. So she's assuming we're lying? I see your Facebook page. You're calling us anti-maskers while we're in this room. You, the board, need to control the people that are hating on individuals that cannot wear masks. By approving this mask mandate today, you are purposely taking food off of my children's plate. My options are already limited, and I'll quote you, Ms. McKinley. You said if you don't like the rules, shop somewhere else. Well, after today, I won't have that option anymore because I am discriminated on every single time I tell somebody that I have a medical condition that does not allow me to wear a mask. So I ask you today, Mr. Kerner, I have to ask, are you want this enforcement squad of police officers to go out and arrest citizens for living life, running a business, trying to put food on their table because they're shopping without a mask? I feel like we're being punished, like we're criminals, and we're not even guilty of a crime. Please do not pass this mask mandate today.
There is no way that wearing a facial mask do these masks keep us from spreading or getting COVID. So stop spreading the lies. Face coverings will not protect the wearer. It's over and over again in the New England Board of Journal, in every single medical establishment. They're all saying that masks do not work because guess what? If it did, Miami and Dade County would not have spikes. They would not have rises.
Your time has expired.
You're wasting all our time by mandating this.
Thank you, ma'am, for your comments.
If you employ this mask argument and you make it mandatory, are you now going to open the entire county, all the businesses, because you're basically saying that this is your remedy, this is your cure? I sure hope you're right, because you're putting people's lives at risk. And the people that are really sick that should be home in quarantine, they're going to come out thinking our commissioners told us this is a free pass. So please be aware you're providing a false sense of security, and it's not at all proven by science that your point is valid. Thank you.
Thank you, doctor.
Can you prove that it's good for people to breathe carbon dioxide over and over and over again? God made it so that we would breathe in fresh oxygen to go to our body, to every cell in the body. It has to have that to make energy. When you wear a mask, the nose is cut off, the mouth is cut off. and you're breathing carbon dioxide over and over and over again. You're not getting the fresh oxygen that God intended. You're sending carbon dioxide to every cell in the body, polluting it, especially the brain. You can't do that.
The FDA regulates the use of face masks, including cloth masks and cloth face coverings to the public. The FDA has issued an emergency use authorization pertaining to the use of face masks for COVID and say you cannot claim that these masks can be used for antimicrobial, antiviral protection, or uses for infection prevention and reduction. According to the FDA, face masks, which includes cloth masks for the public, are considered medical devices when they are intended for a medical purpose, such as source control, including uses related to COVID. According for the FDA, intended for medical purpose means the device is intended for the diagnosis of disease or other conditions in the cure, mitigation, treatment, or prevention of disease. Therefore, it meets the definition of a medical device. As such, this board has no authority for medical treatment or prevention of the disease because you have no license to practice medicine. That is under statute 381, and that is up to the Surgeon General. And under that
your time has
statute,
expired.
he can only do that on an individual basis
Ma'am, your time
on
has expired.
risk assessment.
And you're
Thank
now,
you.
Thank you, ma'am.
A 2008 study of surgical masks worn by surgeons found that the mask did reduce oxygen levels significantly, creating hypoxia, a lack of oxygen in the blood. Hypoxia inhibits T lymphocytes, the main immune cells, so wearing a mask suppresses our immune system. Hypoxia promotes inflammation, which can promote the growth, invasion, and spread of cancers, and can also lead to stroke and heart attack. Our Amazon Prime driver a few weeks ago was so weak from wearing his mask, he begged my husband for Advil and water. He said, "This mask is killing me." This commission shouldn't be threatening the constituents we voted for you to serve and protect us, not serve and protect an agenda that appears to take aim at innocent, healthy citizens and small businesses. Small businesses that have already been hurt economically due to the unnecessary shutdown created by using faulty models, along with government agencies that still can't keep their stories straight. This mandate would further hurt businesses that would be under threat of shutdown unless they force their patrons to cover their nose and mouth.
We, the people, will work day and night to clean every single seat if need be. We will get together and do a citizen's arrest on every single human being that goes against the freedom of choice, okay? You literally cannot mandate somebody to wear a mask knowing that that mask is killing people. It literally is killing people. And we the people, are waking up, and we know what citizen's arrest is because citizen's arrests are already happening, okay? And every single one of you that are obeying the devil's laws are going to be arrested. And you, doctor, are going to be arrested for crimes against humanity. Every single one of you have a smirk behind that little mask, but every single one of you are going to get punished by God. You cannot escape God. You cannot escape God. I'm gonna say that again. You cannot escape God, not even with the mask or 6 feet. Okay? 6 feet, like I said before, is military protocol. You're trying to get the people to train them so when the cameras, the 5G comes out, what? They're gonna scan everybody. We gotta get scanned, we gotta get temperatured. The kids have to go to school with masks. Are you insane? Are you crazy? I think all of you should be in a psych ward right the heck now because none of you know what the hell you are all talking about. This is insane. And then you want to open this meeting with a prayer to God. Are you praying to the devil? Because God is not listening to that prayer because all of you are practicing the devil's laws. What happened to Bill Gates? Why is he not in jail? Why is Hillary Clinton not in jail? Why are all of these pedophiles that are demanding you all to listen to their rules? Why are they not in jail? Oh, is it because you're part of them? Are you part of the deep state?
Your time has expired.
The deep state is going down. And if any of you are in the deep state, you're going down with it.
I'm finding that you are disrupting this meeting.
Where do you derive the authority to regulate human breathing? I ask you this because this is very important. You all are playing doctors, and you're not. And God gave us the very breath that we are to breathe. I would also like to know, where do you get the authority to reduce my oxygen? Who made you perpetrators over my life? I would like to also say in Congress is where laws are made. They have to write a bill. That bill has to also go through the Senate. You cannot just make laws. That is unconstitutional. That is not how we run this country as a republic. You have taken and overreached authorities that you do not have. And ma'am, as a doctor, I really have many question marks about your degrees and what you really know, because what you say is the political dogma that they're trying to shove down our throats on every commercial and every store, and it's disgusting. And I'm sorry, ma'am, but I don't think that you are worthy of your credentials. And I would ask suggestively that you go back to school and get educated.
Ma'am, there is a difference between commenting on her
Okay,
efficacy as
then
a
I will go
doctor
back
and
to my
attacking-
comments to
Thank
each
you.
and every one of you as representatives of the human race, where you're supposed to represent people. And Mrs. Baker, okay, I'm not allowed to say your name, but still, it is appalling that each and every one of you sitting up there as human beings, part of the human race, the only race that we have, would suggest to muffle people, to put masks on our face, to keep us from breathing oxygen, to get us to become sickly. Now, there's so much evidence. The CDC itself said they made a mistake. There's not enough to make this a pandemic. This is a planned-demic. This is totally political, and you know it. And I'm asking you to cease and desist from the political agendas that you're being propaganded to stand with and try to hold us hostage as
you, ma'am.
American citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
How can you make a one-size-fits-all mandate? Are you considering the following? I've been a music teacher for 23 years. I need you to tell me, how do I play a saxophone and sing with a mask on? I'll let you think about that. How about people that can't breathe with the myriad of conditions that there are, not just one, not just two, maybe four, maybe five? What about PTSD from child abuse situations? I was left in a hot car. You want to cover my face? I'm going to hyperventilate, because I remember being stuck in that hot car. What about people like me? We don't matter because of the greater good, right? What about religious objections? I happen to be clergy. Nobody's talked to me about me and my religion and our levels of autonomy and about how we do not allow masks or medical treatments to be given by people that are not doctors, which is everybody up here except one, all right? Speaking of the greater good, that's a nice phrase that they used to use back in Cuba, where my family came from. They had a lot of the same things that you guys are proposing now. Snitch lines, we call them el comité de barrio. They would snitch on each other and call people, hey, he's not doing this, she's not doing that. Snitch, 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 snitch. Yeah, that Cuba likes that. They're proud of you guys right now. The enforcers, police officers, are you ready to turn into tools of the government and drag people to jail for wearing a mask? Is that what you want to do? Because that just happened to my uncle's neighbors in Cuba. They decided they wanted to see each other because they live next door to each other. The cops came, took them away. We haven't heard from them since. They're probably dead. And the educators, the loudspeakers, the announcements, 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart, follow comunismo, follow comunismo. Same loudspeaker, same thing. Did you guys call Castro and ask him about that? I'm letting you know, we know this is unconstitutional. I haven't worn a mask yet. I'm not wearing it today. Besides, despite what you guys do up here today, I'm not wearing one tomorrow. I was born free. I will stay free. My rights come from God, not from you. I'm not wearing it. You're going to have to hold me down and put it on me.
We the people refuse to comply. The videos in the nightclubs shown appear eerily similar to the protesters, rioters, and looters, yet the CDC directly and emphatically refused to denounce that behavior. In fact, the CDC encouraged this behavior while instructing all others to stay at home. Stop testing, go back to normal, not a new normal. Increased testing means increased positives, not necessarily increased severity. Governor Ron DeSantis signed an executive order numbered 20-80, and in there states, there's a penalty of a 60 days imprisonment and up to $500 fine to refuse to consent to a vaccine. Not only should the governor rescind this executive order, he should replace the state surgeon general with someone more in line with the will of we the people. Military and airline personnel are exempt. The RNC will be in Jacksonville in August. Are they to quarantine and isolate thousands of delegates and media for 2 weeks before the convention? We the people are afforded protection under ADA and HIPAA.
Ma'am,
This
your
is
time
not
has
about
expired.
health. This
We
is about
greatly appreciate
submission.
your comments.
I'm turning in 888 signatures of confirmed Palm Beach County residents who emphatically oppose government-mandated face coverings. These petitions were collected in just 5 days. We are local citizens. We do not have funding of any kind. We do not have an agenda. We are trying to protect ourselves and our children. This order grossly misjudges the current threat and oversteps government's role of protecting our residents. We have inalienable rights given to us by our Creator, rights which our government was created to protect. We need proof. Residents do not take it lightly when arbitrary and capricious rules are forced down their throats for the greater good, and then we are given no logical scientific basis for those rules. To date, not one official has demonstrated how the data and science justify this mandate. The data available to the public does not justify such an action. Less than 1% of the Palm Beach County population has confirmed positive with COVID-19.
My concern as a nurse and a mother and a grandmother is that I am hearing that the county is going to be prescribing a medical means that's unsolicited by the people on a whole. And I see a lot of problems with that. I also see that a mask is not preventative for COVID. And that's exactly what you're doing without saying it. There is research that says that it does cause hypoxia. There's actual research online, and I will send it to all of you if you want to see this, where people are doing oximeter readings from wearing these masks. Doctor, you know that the environment in the OR is much different than the environment out here. You know that. So you can't compare the two when wearing a mask. Okay? What I'm concerned about is our police officers who are going to be wearing masks. What happens if they become hypoxic? They carry guns. This is serious, and it needs to be taken seriously. I'm also the daughter of somebody who lived through Germany. I know a lot of stories, and this is sounding very familiar to me.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're forcing people to wear masks. They were forced to wear a star.
First of all, we live in a republic, a democratic republic, not a democracy. Commissioner Valasche, I appreciate what you said about the WHO, but if that is true, then why is the county citing the WHO on their website as a source to be listened to? So you need to decide who you want us to listen to. You can't keep telling us all these different things and expect us to really understand what you're talking about. So Education Mayor Kerner, you emphasize it multiple times. You and Dr. Alonzo and the rest of this board discuss about how we need to educate. I myself have stood here at least twice before and through several separate emails of which I don't get responses from, requesting these studies that are showing why that it is safe for us to not only wear the mask, but that it is effective. We're not getting them. So as many other people have said, how can you mandate a medical intervention on people without the scientific backup? An opinion is not science. It's not science. As much as you can't just keep saying things and expect them to be true. It's not, an opinion is not science. And until we see those scientific studies, I've said I would be willing to consider wearing a mask if I can see those studies. I still haven't received them. Therefore, I can only assume that they don't exist, or for some reason you don't want to share them with us.
Informed consent, bodily autonomy, risks and choice, burden of proof. Today, you'll hear again an unapologetic message that you have ignored for weeks. You do not have the authority to govern my body. You don't have the science or the proof to support a mandated medical intervention, because if you did, you would respond to our emails with that information. In Florida, informed consent requires a doctor, not a board of commissioners, to provide the nature of the procedure, what it intends to correct, and explain fully the risks, other alternatives, outcomes, and even a do-nothing approach. You have never explained the risks. For the record, we've been harassed, defamed, humiliated, discriminated, called anti-maskers, maskless bandits, grandma killers. Does that sound like public health to you? You can't hide this stuff. We're not buying your bored who cried wolf ever again. Never once has anyone addressed the idea of education of informed consent. The risks of wearing a face covering have been repeatedly mentioned by all U.S. governing boards, and insufficient science to provide level of protection. If a mask did its job, it would require biohazard disposal, not reckless rearview mirror decor. Mayor Kerner, at your presser, I counted 15 times that your hands went to your face, put on the mask, took it off, fondled, flip-flopped, and no one sanitized your mic.
From the OSHA website, plainly states that cloth masks will not protect the wearer against airborne transmissible infectious agents due to loose fit and lack of seal or inadequate filtration. And I would also just like to say there are a lot of opposing views that you're never going to hear on the mainstream media. For instance, Dr. Brosu and Dr. Sietsema, both national experts on respiratory protection and infectious diseases at University of Illinois at Chicago, said, "We do not recommend requiring the general public who do not have symptoms of COVID-19-like symptoms to routinely wear cloth or surgical masks because there is no scientific evidence they are effective."
I'm going to quote Governor DeSantis at his Friday press conference that masks have to be voluntarily because the Constitution is not suspended just because there is a virus. Also stated by Dr. Alonso that wearing your mask wearing it wrong is just like putting a condom in the wrong place. I have yet to see anybody up here wearing their mask as stated on your website. It says, do not wear them loosely, do not wear them under your nose, avoid touching them, stay at least a meter from each other, and when you're removing them, you should be using sanitary gloves to place them in a sterile container, throw the gloves away, then use new gloves to put them back on. None of you are doing that. You're touching, moving, poking, prodding.
I do know that I was born in the United States and I'm a free citizen. Not only that, I'm a citizen of heaven. And I will not tolerate putting a muzzle on my mouth to keep me from speaking to people, to keep me from them seeing my smile, to brighten up someone's day who's been sick, who has a child that's sick, who's suffering through cancer. We can't do this. And the distancing, God made us to communicate with people, to hug people, to love on people. This social distancing stinks. It stinks. Okay, I can't hug my child. I can't hug someone who I love. I can't go see my grandmother or my mother. No, this is unacceptable. You guys, you work for us. We don't work for you. You work for us. We vote you in. We vote you in, we vote you out. Okay.
My name is Ira Rabb. I'm the parliamentarian of the Palm Beach County Democratic Party. I fully support the proposal that the county mandate the wearing of masks in indoor places within the county that are open to the public. I note that yesterday, Congresspersons Frankel, Deutsch, and Hastings have issued a statement in support of the proposal. Contrary to what some of the speakers have said this morning, health experts, Dr. Fauci in Washington, Dr. Alonso here this morning, have stated that social distancing and the wearing of masks do reduce the spread of COVID-19, especially in indoor places open to the public.
Under the Florida Constitution, I have the right to a hearing. Your proposed executive order that contains a civil and criminal penalty doesn't provide for that. Your proposed order is unconstitutional. If you think your power is derived from the Florida statutes, it isn't. If you think your power is in the comprehensive emergency management plan to make a countywide mask mandate, think again, because you don't. To make me wear a mask, you'd have to prove that I'm infectious. In short, this isn't about a virus, it's about your attempt to take authority that you don't have. Some of you might be squirming, and it's like a high school drama queen who hasn't got voted for the homecoming court. But I'm sorry about your discomfort, but you don't have the authority to make mandatory masks. In closing, I'd like to point out that your current executive order states that all persons accessing Palm Beach County government buildings shall wear facial coverings at all times while present in the building. You're not following your own EO. I think that makes you probably subject to fine or jail right now.
Once again, I'm here speaking in solidarity with fellow activists and residents of Palm Beach County on behalf of Reopen Florida. Since you're using CDC guidelines and misleading statistics to justify an unconstitutional mask mandate, I had a whole speech prepared about how wrong the CDC has gotten this whole pandemic response. I could talk about their contaminated tests, their retracted recommendations, their inconsistent stance on masks, their conflating of antibody and viral tests resulting in crucial metrics errors, or how the FDA confirmed that the CDC violated their own manufacturing standards. This whole meeting is a bit of a farce though, right? As every one of you, except Vice Mayor Weinroth and maybe Commissioner Valasche, has indicated, some publicly, you're going to mandate masks here today. Does anyone care about the 888 petitions Palm Beach County residents collected in only 5 days? Or about the $5,000 I raised in 24 hours to file suit in Orange County yesterday? Or that 4 attorneys have co-signed a cease and desist letter on behalf of Palm Beach County residents, and that we are intending on taking legal action against these unconstitutional mandates?
By the looks of this chamber, it is clear that many have fallen for propaganda and pseudoscience. I think we need to learn about that. If we're going to educate people, let's learn about pseudoscience. It's coming largely from unethical organizations who profit from sickness and eliminating not just civil rights, but human rights under the guise of disease prevention. If the National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program has taught parents who are paying attention anything, it is that CDC recommendations can cause serious harm and even death. We have now seen reports of kids dying while exercising with facial coverings on. People have passed out while wearing masks driving and crashed their cars. If anyone, let alone a child, is injured or dies as a result of an unlawful countywide mask mandate, is the county attorney, are the officials in this room prepared for the legal consequences? That's a serious question. Are you prepared to face individual liability? Because you won't have qualified immunity, because you know what you're doing is wrong.
Dr. Alonso, we have requested many times to see the data that shows that masks are safe and that they will keep us protected from COVID. You have responded, I don't care. People have screamed, we are being discriminated against because it is unsafe for us to wear masks, and you have replied, I don't care. We have told you that you do not have the legal authority to implement a mandate like this, and you have said that you do not care. You stand to violate the constitutional rights of our officers, leaving them open to personal liability, and the constitutional rights of our people, and you do not care. Mayor Kerner, you say that bad actors will be punished to the full extent of the law while never defining what a bad actor is. Sir, you are a bad actor, and you do not care. Each of you elevates yourselves above the rest of us while you sit up there without your masks, communicating to us that you do not care. You have 4 law firms that have come together and are ready to defend against your tyranny, and a court of law. The lion has come and he is asking, may I eat you? I am not surprised when you will respond that you do not care. Lastly, I want to declare and decree that the people will have the victory. We are insulated by our Constitution. We are one nation under God, and there will be justice for all.
Mayor, you continue to say there's some obvious disagreement on the public policy. The disagreement is between the government having zero authority to manage my medical privacy, my medical and bodily autonomy, the signs of health risks from wearing masks, versus kindness. As Mayor Kerner said, the board has adopted the prevailing policy to stop the spread as an act of kindness. I'm strongly urging y'all to put the stop to these new demands. As a medical professional with my master in health sciences, we cannot tell a patient what to do with their body, yet this council is overreaching their public roles. It makes no sense that a government county council imposes what a living person does with their body. You have no right. Any state of emergency, code of ordinance, does not supersede our constitutional rights. As per the Privacy Clause of Florida, Article 1, Section 23, this council has no right to manage my medical privacy or medical or bodily autonomy. This council is approving orders based on kindness rather than the health risks associated with wearing masks and our constitutional rights. Keep your kindness and keep the wording to strongly urge. And Ms. Baker, why don't you get a lesson from Dr. Alonso on how to fix your mask?
I am a fourth-generation Black American, and my ancestors built this country. And Mr. Bernard, we built a country that allowed your ancestors to come over here and follow the rules as well. My concern is this. Everybody talking about lives matter. Guess what? When you start, the intent is always not to find people. But the Black people go find more, stop by the police as well, more than anybody else. It always happened. You see, my grandmother died at 122, and the law was legal for us to be called slaves in America. This is a fact. I have a problem because guess what? Our kids are getting shot up just as much as these numbers you put up here. Chicago, shot. And ain't nobody doing nothing. I want to see y'all get up and start serving the people. And each and every one of you will not be re-elected to these seats if you think you're going to continue to take these young Black kids and use them as pawns on the table. And what's your name again over there, Bernard? Weren't you out there protesting with all those children? All those kids down there in Miami did not have one mask on. Y'all put those kids out there. It's the difference between a protester and a rioter. So guess what? You take me as a mad-ass Black mama and a grandmama. Because this day in this country, guess what? And when I wear my mask, you better be able to defend them. Because I got a Second Amendment right.
Dr. Alonso stated that the deaths were real people. Please remember, we are real living people. We do not want to wear these masks. I have been working as an essential worker since this began. I have not worn a mask. This is the mask that I wore today to get in here. This is the mask that you say is okay to come in here. This is the mask I wore in here today. This is my homemade mask that your official said is okay to wear. This is insane. This is insane.
I'm not a medical doctor. I'm here today as a business owner. I don't own a nightclub. I own a firearms business. Now, I think you might agree with me that it would be ludicrous for me to allow someone into my shop to purchase a firearm who's wearing a mask, whose face I cannot see. And I think that there's not a law enforcement officer in this room who wouldn't agree with me. In this day of lawlessness where really with everyone's wearing a mask, you can't tell who are the good guys and who are the bad guys, there's no way in hell that I'm letting somebody into my shop wearing a mask that I cannot identify.
See that flag? I would die for that flag. The Constitution that you are supposed to uphold, I would die for that. None of you are holding that up. You don't care about we the people because you already made your decision before you listen to anybody. You already made a decision.
Shameful.
Okay? You did not listen to we the people. I would die for that country. I would die for the Constitution. And you know what? You disgrace me. You know why? You did not listen to we the people. You made your decision. Okay, what are you going to do to have the police? I thank every officer that's here. Man, I applaud them. But what's going to happen when you get the call to defund the police? Who's going to do that? Who's going to take and arrest these people for wearing a stupid mask? What are you going to do? When you get that call, oh, we got to defund the police. We got to get rid of them. What are you going to do? How are you going to put the people down? You're not listening to we the people.
No.
You made your decision before. You probably already have your orders already taken care of. You don't really care. You could at least listen, at least faked it. But you know, you already made a decision. You do not care about we the people.
Isn't that the truth? That's so
Okay.
true.
It's pathetic. Breaks my heart. Because I would die for that flag. I would die for this country, and I would die for the Constitution. And you guys are supposed to uphold the Constitution, and you know what? You didn't. You let we the people down.
What the hell is going on in this country? You think it's okay? Let everybody out of prison? And I was just going to say, when are you going to start with the defund the police? Because we know whose side you're on. It is so true that you made up your minds. You made up your minds. Shame on you. That's right. We have rights, and this has just gone too far. I have to leave. I sat in here. This is the third day I'm here waiting all day. I have to leave a 91-year-old mother to come here and stand up for what's right. Shame on you. Shame on you. The little children, all the testimony that we heard. Let me tell you one thing real quick before you cut me off. I heard somebody say, we're not sure about anything. That was you, doctor. We're not sure about the facts yet. You heard all the facts. You're not sure about the facts. Guess what? We're not sure about everything. I also heard you say here today that it's spreading. Well, guess what? The riots are spreading too. And what the hell are we going to do about that? We're going to arrest patriots. We're going to arrest people for not wearing a mask. That's what you want when you allow this stuff to go on in this country? We know which side you're on, okay? It's all coming from the top. This is all bullshit. And I say Trump 2020, and I hope every one of you gets voted out who votes for a mask here today. Shame on you for voting for a mask.
If you want to wear a mask, go wear a mask. If you want to run a business with masks, wear masks. But do not put it on the business owners. Don't put it on the police. Don't put it on the individuals who still want a right to be able to use their choice and their voice to have a better change in their life. My grandma is 88 years old, lives on her own. Her sister's 90, lives on her own. You know what they do? They put on some gloves and a mask, but they ain't staying home. The last thing they want to do is stay home. You want to know why? Because the only thing they live for is to go volunteer and hang out and see their friends. You guys are scaring them into staying home, being depressed, having tons of problems. And if you want to talk about our elderly community within Palm Beach, who I care for, many people are my friends and people that I work with, you're telling them to give up on life. Well, life isn't about safety, it's about living, okay? We're not gonna sit around and wait for you guys to decide when and how I can go about my life and feed my children.
Because of the fact that we, as elected officials, we are responsible for the health, safety, and the welfare of over 1.5 million residents that lives in this county. So for these reasons, we have to do this and vote on this today. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bernard. That concludes comments by the members of the Board of County Commissioners. As for my position, I appreciate the robust dialogue we had today and the respect that was given to all participants. The public health will always prevail. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes 7-0.
Okay, so masks are one of the best ways to stop the spread of coronavirus. That is proven. But this explosive meeting shows just how politicized they have become.
Dr. Fauci says wearing masks should not at all be a political issue, and yet the president of the United States won't be seen in public wearing one. Is he contributing to the politicization of mask wearing?
Yeah, it's as if the wearing of a mask has become a cultural touchstone here, a wedge issue almost. The president refuses to wear one. People at his rallies are haphazard at best, about whether they will wear one. And what Dr. Fauci said today is, and I'm quoting him, he said, get past it. People need to wear masks.